The comment gurus are out in full force, and they're here to tell you with their combined publishing experience of 3 months the truth behind Amazon KDP. They're going to tell you whether you even have the right to publish your ideas through Amazon KDP. They're going to tell you that Amazon KDP has been saturated by one man, and that man is Paul Miles. They're here to tell you through their Facebook comments and YouTube comments the truth behind KDP. So let's take a look. Okay, so welcome to a new video. Now, as you can see from the title, this is going to be something a little bit different, and I know that it's on the borderline of being somewhat distasteful, but I want to try and make something that's somewhat entertaining while remaining educational and respectful at the same time. And of course, before anyone gets offended, this is just my opinion, just like anyone else. I'm not here to offend anyone whatsoever, but I do think this is kind of important for people that are starting out with KDP or people that aren't having that much success early days with KDP. And it's kind of bizarre because a lot of the comment advice that people are giving out is from people that have very, very limited experience on the platform. So I don't claim to be any kind of expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I'd like to think I have a grasp on what's just terrible and inaccurate advice. Okay, so like I say, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but sometimes I think for the sake of your publishing success, that's not always a great thing. Okay, so let's kick things off with the first comment here, which is you shouldn't spend more than 20 minutes researching your niche. So I find it really hard to believe that anyone can get clued up in just 20 minutes of researching a niche, especially if you don't have any prior knowledge in that niche. And even if you do have knowledge in that niche, in order to increase your chances of making sales, you've got to spend the time to know how to position your book on Amazon, what your customer is actually attracted to within that niche, so the book cover, the interior, etc., and how you can add value to that niche in order to stand out. And if you don't have knowledge in that niche, you can't get clued up in 20 minutes. So for example, I'm currently working on a book where I have a little bit of knowledge, but not too much. And even that has taken me over 2 weeks to sort of understand much better. So for me, niche research is really something that you need to put time into. It's something that you need to prioritize, especially if you're going that route of trying to create fewer books of higher quality, which I think is what you should be doing. But I mean, I guess this does make sense if you are going for the volume route, which you are allowed to do, but that's definitely not something that I'm pursuing, and it's not something that I talk about on this channel. And eventually, with those type of books, your customers will know that you don't have a clue what you're talking about and you're just shoving books out there to try and make money. And eventually what you'll find is that your sales will die off in those niches because you're going to get bad reviews because you don't know what you're talking about. And I know what some people will say, and they'll say that if you don't have any knowledge in the niche, then you just shouldn't be publishing with it anyway. And I do agree with that to some extent, but I'm not really talking about creating like fitness books when you don't have any experience in that domain, things that could end up actually affecting someone's life in a negative way, hurting them, causing them an injury, for example. I'm talking about things like if you're going to create, a coloring book, trying to understand what your audience within the niche that you're going after is looking for in terms of how complex the illustrations are, for example. Things like that you can actually research and then implement into your books. So for me, this is bad advice because it promotes producing poor quality work. Now, for me, everything that I do is geared toward making sales in the long run. So in order to make sales in the long run, you want your book to stick on Amazon. You want to please as many customers as possible through its lifetime. And you're just not going to be able to do that if the vast majority of people that buy a book are going to end up being unhappy with it and leaving you bad reviews. Eventually, your book will fall off of Amazon and it will never be seen again. Okay, so moving on to the next frequent comment, and that is, you're only making sales from books that you uploaded in 2018. So actually, I kind of get this because it makes sense that people publishing books back in 2018 were earlier to the party, and the competition since then has increased due to various factors that have led people to try and create an income online. So the pandemic being one of those factors, and the increase of YouTubers that are introducing new people to publishing. However, from personal experience, I found it harder to get books to stick back in 2018, 2019. Whereas in 2021 and 2022, my upload success rate was probably around 50%. Okay? There's this assumption, and it mainly comes from the comment gurus, that publishing books back in 2018, 2019 was this magical period where you could upload anything you wanted and sales would just flood in. Most of these people weren't even publishing in 2018, 2019. And this is what I believe people refer to as coping for being bad at something. I published my first book back in Q4 of 2018, the magical period, and it was a book that I worked on myself. It was very high in demand. The competition at the time was very low. And even then, it took me more than 3 months to start seeing my first few sales with that book. And even during 2019, again, the magical period, I had 3 or 4 months of producing these really generic low content books, and I hardly made any sales from them. So hands up, who here has published books back in 2018 and 2019, and then all of a sudden it became impossible to make sales with new books because more YouTubers started popping up and people started jumping on the KDP bandwagon? And you'll find that people that were publishing back in 2018, who are still publishing now, who were struggling in 2018, are still struggling now. And that's absolutely fine, obviously, but it is quite telling that people just don't want certain types of books, and that there is a way of doing things well on Amazon regardless of what the year is. And I'd go as far to argue that now is as good a time as any to jump into KDP. There are so many awful books being uploaded onto Amazon. It's absolutely crazy, isn't it? You've probably seen those publishers who upload the same coloring book 100 times with a different cover, and people that spam the low content books. It just looks awful. And customers on Amazon, are they even buying this? Probably not. So when a good book comes around, it actually stands out. It's obvious when someone has taken the time to put that little bit of extra love into their work. However, I would admit that with the increase of KDP's popularity, there comes the issue of your book getting lost amongst the junk. Now, this is real, and it's something that a lot of people get disheartened by, and that's why I believe it's more important now than ever to take the time to really think about the niche that you publish in and where your book is likely to end up on Amazon, and then go from there. So I actually made a video about this a few weeks ago about getting your book ranked on the first page for the niche that you're in. And basically what I'm saying within that video is that you really need to think about the niche that you are going after. And if you publish that, every single time you publish a book, you need to think to yourself, where is my book likely to end up? So get that whole honeymoon period out of your head. I think it's like, is it a 10-day push or a 30-day push? I don't know what it is. I can't even remember. Get that idea out of your head that's going to help you. Think about where your book is going to end up in the long run. And then from there, if it's likely to end up on the third page, ask yourself, like, how much money am I going to have to spend? How much time am I going to have to spend into marketing in order to get my book ranked higher up so people actually find it organically? So if you're still getting started with Amazon KDP, or you've been struggling for a few months, you can put your concerns to one side and realize that you're not alone with bad sales. You're not alone with the grind that you're feeling. Like, it's hard work, and it's always been hard work. And you should never let people make you think that there was a period where it was so easy that you could just upload anything, because I don't think it's true. Okay, so moving on to what is an award-winning comment, and that is that Amazon makes all their money from people that are buying their own books. So for this video, I had in mind that I'd kind of make like a counterpoint for each of these comments, but with this one, I just don't know how. Whoever is under the impression that Amazon is relying off people buying their own books to make their money, I'm sorry, but you're too far gone, and I just don't think the internet is for you. There is being skeptical, and then there's that. And this is also very similar to the opinion, and it's not even an opinion, but I'm going to call it opinion for this sake, that Amazon is the only one making money from KDP, which again, I would have to imagine that this is some next level amount of coping that the internet just isn't ready for, because it's just ridiculous that someone could actually think that. And I'm sorry if you are the person that left those comments, but that's crazy talk. And I know that I'm sounding harsh, I know that I am, and I don't mean to be, but realistically, all these comments, they add up to influencing a person's decision whether to publish their idea through Amazon KDP or not. And just like this video, it's probably going to influence X amount of people to go through with their ideas. And I hope that it does. I hope as many people as possible will carry on publishing and trying their hand at publishing, because it's for everyone. Everyone has the right to publish your Amazon KDP. And if you get things right, you can earn very good money. But the reality is, with anything online pretty much, the chances of being successful are low. That's the way that it's always been. It's the way that it always will be. But your chance to do so is always going to be there, and you have the right to give it a go. So with FBA, for example, here, as you can see, I had in the first 2 months here, I've had 474 units ordered, around $5,000 worth of product sales. Now, obviously, this isn't profit. The profit, I think, is between $1 and $2 per unit ordered. I have about 20 to 30 different products on Amazon FBA, and they're all making different amounts, so I can't work out the profit right here. But the point is, this isn't an FBA flex. What this is me saying that if I'd listened to other people in comment sections and Facebook groups and wherever, I would never have known what this is like to actually start growing a new business, what it's like to actually start seeing sales on Amazon FBA. And for the most part, people that leave these comments saying, oh, KDP is dead, or FBA is dead, and you can't make money in 2022 online, blah, blah, blah. These are the people that have failed at it. And they're the first persons to go to the Facebook groups and the YouTube comments and tell you that you can't do it either. And that's the point of this video. It's just a marketplace where you're selling a product and you're getting it in front of people. That is it. So you can't say ever that is dead and doesn't work. It's a marketplace that has a stupendous amount of traffic going to it. Yes, it takes a lot of work. FBA is taking me a ton of work. I was doing the whole coping thing early days with that because I couldn't find wholesalers. I was too scared to get on the phone to wholesalers. I was finding a few wholesalers, and then I was not finding any products that are making me any profit. And I was saying to myself, yeah, this is dead. Like, it's too hard to make money with it. And with KDP, I've literally had conversations with people that have been working hard on their low content books for like 2 months, and they've produced 1 notebook or 2 line journals or something, and they won't listen to anyone but their own ego. They won't produce books where there's buyer traffic going. They only produce things that they're interested in selling or what they think will sell. They get disheartened, and then they head to the YouTube and Facebook comments. And I think this matters because I've even seen people reply to these comments and say things like, wow, thank you for opening my eyes to the reality of the KDP scam. And yeah, I just think it's one of those things where people just want good things handed to them and they're not willing to put in the actual effort. Some of us don't have that mindset where we keep going no matter what hurdles we face, and that's absolutely fine. I'm on the borderline of being like that myself. Not everyone can be that way. And I know a lot of the KDP YouTube scene is very hyped up, including my own videos. A lot of hype. It's very misleading. But no matter what stage you are at, whether it's 1 month in, 1 day in, or 2 years into your publishing journey, you need to know that it has never been easy and it never will be easy. Okay, so have you ever wanted to make yourself sound like a KDP expert? If so, make sure that you always say quality over quantity. So this is the most generic advice ever, and I think I hate it the most. Of all the things people could say about publishing, quality over quantity is the one that I hate the most. It's good because it makes sense, right? You create a better book and it increases your chance of making sales. That should be obvious, right? But I think you can create a good book over the course of 5 years and not see any sales to it. I really do. I think you can make a book in Canva in 5 minutes and it sell like crazy, but it seems unfair, doesn't it? But Amazon doesn't care about your efforts. Amazon cares that their customer gets what they want and then continues to buy from them. So whether you like it or not, you can make a terrible book in a low competition, high demand niche and make sales. I'm not saying do that if that opportunity presents itself, but you can. If the volume of traffic is there, you can do it. You can also create a high quality book in overly competitive niches or dead niches and make no sales, 100%, I promise you. So for me, this is where the whole quality over quantity and follow your passion advice doesn't make sense to me. People that usually say follow your passion, they're artists and they're looking to create coloring books, which is what I've found over the last couple years of doing the YouTube thing, which is great. Like that's a wonderful combination of skill and platform that will probably work out amazingly well. But it's useless advice if your passions are things that nobody are interested in book form. If you're here to make money, then go after where money is being spent. And the other reason that I think that this advice sucks is because people don't know what quality is. Like if I showed someone my latest books and asked for feedback, and the feedback was focus on your quality, I'd be like, what the does that even mean? Like how do I improve my quality? So how exactly do we increase the quality of our books? So for me, it's not about quality. It's about understanding what people within the niche that you're going after actually want. And the easiest way to do that is just to take a look at some of the best-selling books in the niche that you're within. Take a look at the elements that they're using on their covers. Take a look at the font style. Take a look at the covers. See what the language they're using in their listings. See what their books actually consist of. This is quality. So quality for me is giving the customer what they want. Okay, so I might show someone one of my best-selling Valentine's Day books, which is a bucket list journal. A lot of people look at that and go, that's terrible because it's just white font on a black background. But within the niche that I'm publishing within, people wanted that. People wanted something funny, wanted something simple, and then I gave it to them. So for me, that's what quality is. It's trying to please the customer within your niche. Okay, next comment, which is don't create your book cover in Canva. So this is a touchy subject for some people. I know it is, but can you create your book cover in Canva? Of course you can. But did you ever stop to think if you actually should? I know that in a lot of my videos, I try and steer people away from creating book covers in Canva. Why? And that's because for most of us, if we could design well, we would not be using Canva. So the result from Canva is typically low effort and therefore low quality. I think part of the problem is that there's so many videos on YouTube that show you how to create book covers using Canva because it's quick and easy. But again, it doesn't mean that you should. And this comes down to what people's standards are within the niche that you're going after. So, for example, one of my best-selling coloring books book cover was made in Canva by me, okay? But the niche which it was within called for something very simple. So for that book, it worked well because all I needed to do was take an image from the interior, color it in. I think I actually used my iPad to do that, and then place that on a black background with some colorful text, okay? And that was kind of it, because that's all it needed to be, because I understood what customers were attracted to within that niche. And it's funny because I actually hired someone to create that book cover for me. I did my own version in Canva, and then I hired someone for like $50, and they couldn't get it the way that I felt that it needed to be created to match the competition. So I did it myself. I went with the cover that I created. And I did that because it made sense to do so. So another example would be, I had a really nice toddler coloring book made that I spent a fair bit of money on, and then I tried to create the book cover myself for that in Canva. And then I put it up against what was selling well on Amazon, and it just looked, you can look at these book covers side by side, and it just didn't compete. Like, there was nothing about my book cover that was anywhere near as good as what was selling on Amazon. So I didn't make it myself. I went and hired someone to do it for me. Full disclosure, that didn't make me any sales because it was a terrible choice of niche, way too broad. Don't know what I was thinking. So the takeaway from this is, don't just make covers in Canva because you can. Take the time to understand, do your niche research, understand what people are looking for in your niche, and then decide from there, can I create this myself, or do I need to hire someone to do it for me? Okay, so moving on to the next two world-class comments, both are regarding running ads. So the first comment being, running ads is Amazon's biggest scam. And the second one being, you have to spend thousands of dollars every single month just to make any money, and that's what they don't tell you. Okay, so this is variations of comments that get thrown around a lot by the comment gurus. The whole ad thing being a scam and it's the only way to make money is by spending thousands of dollars every single month. But which is it? Is it a scam, or is it the only way for people to make money? Either way, it's inaccurate. But sure, some people will spend a few $1,000s on ad campaigns just to make 1,000 back. But so what? If that's the thing and it's what's working for them, then so be it. I know people who are still making sales organically that make way more money than I do. I personally spend around $150 to $200 most month on ads, and for the most part, they break even. During Q4, it's a little bit higher, so I think last December was maybe around $400 to $500, which made me feel a bit, but that's probably down to me not monitoring my campaigns well enough. I use it as a way to push my book up the rankings. So if I'm breaking even on an ad campaign and it pushes my book up toward the first page, I'm happy with that because I'm going to make more sales organically. And yes, that does work if you get it right. Not making a profit directly from ad campaigns, which I will admit some of my campaigns do, but my total ACOS overall is probably break even at this point. And as for it being a scam, I don't really know what to say to that. Obviously, Amazon is making money from it, but running ads is a great way to get additional eyes and sales to your book. Is it a magic pill for making sales? It's definitely not. It takes time, and it's just like any other area of KDP or earning online. The reality with ads is that you'll probably lose money. Like your first few months, you'll probably lose some money doing it. You'll probably not even break even for a fair while, but that's just the way that it is. I think the mistake that people are making is running ads to all of their books when they haven't had any success with the platform just yet. So getting additional eyes on a book that people don't want is just going to waste money. So for me, I run ads to all of my new books, every single one. But that's because I feel confident in the books that I've created after I've been doing this for a few years. And even then, like ever since I started very slowly, just put a little bit of money into it. And then over time started putting more into it. And that, again, over time, the ACOS started coming down, started turning off the campaigns that weren't working for me, leaving the campaigns that were working, running. Okay, as long as they're breaking even, I don't care. I leave them, adjust them over time. So regarding ads, I do have a free ads course in the description. It's going to help you get a better understanding of the reality of running ad campaigns. It's going to save you a lot of money. But again, just because you can, doesn't mean you should. And actually, I'm just going to continue this rant very quickly about ad campaigns, is that if you're going to run ads, ask yourself, why are you running them? So for me, if I found a niche that had no competition, I'd upload that book without any ads being run to it, because I know that there's going to be a good chance that it's going to be on the first couple pages and people are going to find it organically. However, if I'm interested in a niche that does have some competition, a fair bit of competition, I'm going to look at that. I'm going to say to myself, like, you know, maybe I'm going to end up on the 4th page here and I'm going to have to spend a little bit of money on my ad campaigns. So if I release that book, I'm going to run ad campaigns to it straight away and then see over time how much money I need to actually spend on that book to get it ranked on the first page, and then decide from there, actually, you know, maybe this isn't worth it. Maybe I'm going to have to spend too much to the point where I'm not comfortable with the spend just to get it onto the first page. That's just the way that I look at it. Okay, so that's it for the comments in this video. But before I go, I want to give a special mention, a special shout out to everyone's favorite and most in-depth and accurate analytical tool, and that is the infamous BSR calculator. And I think this is the one that I find the most infuriating, and you see it in pretty much every niche video as a way to prove that a niche has got traffic going to it. And while the calculation is obviously going to be inaccurate from these BSR calculators, it should be obvious at first glance that those niches have a boatload of buyer traffic going to them. You don't need a calculator to tell you that a book that is ranked 500 in books department is making a lot of money. But unfortunately, these BSR calculator / niche videos, they make the niches look like a great opportunity when really you're just looking at someone else's success, especially when people show you one book and they say, hey, it's got a ranking of 500, look how much it's making per month, $38 billion a month. You know, why can't you make that as well? The problem that you're going to face is being able to actually compete with these books. And that's why I massively stress the importance of trying to figure out where your book is likely to land on Amazon before you go after that niche. Saying that, I do use the BSRs on Amazon itself to get an understanding of how much traffic is going to a niche that I'm going after. There's no set number that I use, but if I was interested in, say, something like a dog coloring book for kids, then I'd check all the BSRs for the books in that niche that can be found on the first few pages and see, for the most part, if it's performing well. That's it. And I will say, regarding this whole niche video BSR thingy-majiggy, like, why can't you do this yourself? Like, it's so easy to find these niches. I'm going to show you. I'm just going to do it randomly. I'm going to go onto Amazon and pick a niche that's got traffic, buyer traffic going to it. I promise you that if you do more of your own niche research, then the better you'll become at finding ways to position your book within those niches. Trust me here, okay? The more time that you spend looking at niches on Amazon, looking at the BSRs, looking at the competition, the better chance you're going to have to compete with them. So in terms of doing this yourself, like, this is just so easy, and you don't need niche videos to tell you these niches, okay? You can go onto Amazon, you can search for something like I've done here. I'm just going to do this randomly as I record the video. So coloring books for kids aged 4 to 8. And then all I'm doing is looking for books, a niche that I have not seen before, okay? So dinosaurs, I've seen all this. Superheroes, I've seen this. Color by number, I've seen this. Bug book for kids with facts, okay? Like, I've not seen that. Maybe I can make a niche video on this one because this is probably selling quite well because it's a bestseller. But you see, it's so easy to find these niches, and it's not the hard part. The hard part is working out, if you created a bug book for kids, a fact bug book, coloring book for kids, like, could you compete with the other ones that are on there? Like, where are you going to end up if you produce this book? And in terms of doing more niche research, you can just go into a listing like this and then scroll down and then check out the different carousels here. So the customers who view this also viewed is the one that I have on this one. Go through these until you find a different niche. Click this, repeat the process. You'll find loads of niches, I promise you. Okay, so that is it for this video. I hope that it hasn't come across in the wrong way, but if you do like this type of video, feel free to subscribe and let me know if you want more of these type of videos. I had a lot of fun making this one, and I look forward to seeing you in another one very soon.